On June 28, 2004, Union Pacific MHOTU-23 or UP 4929 West was getting ready for its departure out of Houston, Texas. The train's destination is Tucson, Arizona, where the conductor and engineer were both called on duty at 2:45 a.m. The crew was expecting to do a 154-mile trip towards Del Rio, Texas, before another crew could take over the train from there. The train consists of 74 loaded manifest cars with not a single one empty, including tanker cars loaded with dangerous chemicals including chlorine gas. We'll come back to that soon. The train had 4 engines on the head end with UPSC-70Ms 4929, 4811, GP60-2066, and another UPSC-70M 4545. In the cab of 4929 was a young crew. Well, sort of. The engineer was 37 years old. He began working for the Union Pacific in 1998, working as a brakeman, then a conductor, and entered the engineer training program in 1999 before officially becoming engineer in March of 2004, just a few months before the accident. The conductor was 23 years old, who began his career back in 2002 as a conductor. His goal actually was to become an engineer, just like his father, who is an engineer himself. According to one of his closest friends, he recently studied materials at engineer class just 1 week before the accident. It was clear he wanted to become an engineer just like his father. On the previous day, on June 27, 2004, BNSF train MEAP-TUL-126-D was getting ready for its departure out of Seco, Texas. The train originated from Eagle Pass, Texas, and its destination is Tusker, Oklahoma, with a conductor and an engineer called on duty at 8:15 p.m. The contents on the head-end were unknown, but the train did consist of 123 empty cars with not a single one loaded. According to the engineer who had an interview with the NTSB, the plan was to bring the train as far as San Antonio, but the dispatcher notified them that they would not go to San Antonio. Instead, they would tie the train down the siding at Macdona, Texas. That was about to play a critical role later. The next few hours were uneventful, as the BNSF train was cruising down through Macdona. As the train was approaching the south side siding, the engineer begins to slow his train down. But regardless, as expected, when the entire train seen the sighting, the BNSF crew will soon tie their train down and wait for a ride to pick them up. Meanwhile, heading in the opposite direction was UP 4929 West. Because the BNSF train did not clear the main yet, the UP train will have to come to a stop on the main by deciding to let the BNSF train clear the main so that the UP train can continue on westbound. So far, everything went routine until the UP slammed into the BNSF at 5:03 a.m. All four of the UP engines zigzagged and went off the tracks. 19 cars from the UP and the 17 cars from the BNSF also derailed. The UP crew survived the initial crash, while the BNSF crew were unharmed, but this was far from over. What makes this disaster more tragic and deadly is what happened next. Just 3 minutes after the crash, a 911 call was soon made. The 911 operator heard the word smoke, and the caller was having difficulty breathing. The call was soon transferred to a fire department dispatcher. The caller reported a train derailment and also said smoke, difficulty breathing and smoke. When the fire department soon arrived at the crash site at 5:15, they soon discovered the worst. A tanker car with chlorine gas erupted, causing the UP train crew, the residents around the area, and the fire department crew to be gasping for air. As a result, the fire department crew immediately fled the scene and requested mutual aid from other agents. Residents around the area were also immediately evacuated. About 5:40 a.m., some of the fire crew came back with protective clothing and self-contained breathing apparatus, and finally conducted a search for any survivors. At 6:15 a.m., the UP engineer was found laying in agony about 240 feet away from the tracks. It was possible the UP crew bailed out seconds before the crash. Over an hour passed with no sign of the UP conductor as the sun was rising around 6:30 a.m. until he was finally found about 9:45 a.m. being trapped among the wreckage. Despite rescuers trying to rescue the conductor as soon as possible, it was sadly too late. The UP engineer was badly injured, but he was lucky to still be alive. But unfortunately, the young conductor sadly died at the scene after inhaling enough chlorine gas. The chlorine gas claimed 2 more lives, rising the death toll up to 3. The UP engineer, 23 residents, and 6 emergency response team members were taken to a hospital for chlorine exposure. So, why did the UP crew fail to stop? while they're falling asleep? The NTSB revealed that the cause of the crash was the UP crew feeling fatigued in the last moments before disaster, and by the time they see a red signal up ahead, it was already too late. All 4 UP locomotives were damaged beyond repair and scrapped, along with multiple cars on both trains that suffered catastrophic damage. The BNSF locomotives were unharmed. It's been 20 years since that disaster occurred, but many wondered, was this the last sight of seeing chlorine gas exposure on the railroad? Sadly, the answer was no. 6 months later, on January 6, 2005 in South Carolina, Norfolk Southern Train 192 collided head-on with NS P-22 because the brakeman of P-22 did not set the switch for the main. As a result, a tanker car filled with chlorine gas from NS 192 erupted. A further 9 people were killed. The remaster of the Granville disaster is perhaps best saved for another day.